a big one that's even come through my table a fair bit is even like your Office 365 tenant, who owns it, administration of it, access to it, a big one because it's such a powerful tool. And I would say that 95% of businesses out there in Australia as well are using Office 365, and it's kind of what kind of things can you throw over Office 365 to protect it, and obviously to have audits against that as well. That's quite a big one I find as well. So video conferencing is kind of big one, and obviously you've got pathways that lead into accessing all these new kind of technologies as well for these businesses. It's obviously bring your own devices. Now they've got new devices in new locations connecting back to all these kind of new services. And obviously anything that's fresh is going to be keen target for anything in cyber for 2020 we've seen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Stuart, and from your side, 9by5 really sort of leads the way in that consultancy space and with the advice services, and has that hands-on experience. From your side, what are your observations that you've seen this year?
So as the only American on this call, I think I'd have to first and foremost say that the election is over. And we do have hopefully we'll have a smooth transition of power. But yes, I believe cyber is definitely something that scares the U.S. in elections. But there's also something really nostalgic about going to cast your vote in a paper sense. So even if cyber becomes the safest that you can make it, I don't know if U.S. elections will ever move to a fully online digital platform. I mean, I remember as a kid going and standing in a little remote booth with my parents as they flick the little levers. So I think that there's something that you'll never get away from in the States with that type of election system. So I divulge for a second just to bring us back to my childhood. But I think Steve was right on the horn of what we're seeing most often, which is I remember at the beginning of March walking through this city and seeing people just carrying out monitors and keyboards and mice and docking stations out of their offices into the unknown of what became March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and now into December. So on top of all of what he said, I think there's also something that we think about, which is asset liability and asset tracking. How much of this is ever going to come back to the office? How many employees were let go or furloughed during that time period that there's a write-off of all these assets that are never going to come back. Monitors and keyboards, yeah, you know what? There's nothing on them. Who cares? But the laptop, the iPad, the mobile device that has email, that has file share, that has storage, that's the stuff that you really need to start thinking about, which is, what was on those devices? Were they encrypted? Can you remote control them? Can you remote wipe them? Are you going to have the ability to control your corporate identity and your corporate information, regardless of how and where it was taken?